Hello guys, welcome to this lecture. In this part I am going to implement the repository. The repository pattern helps us follow the separation of concerns principle by abstracting data access logic from the rest of the application. It makes our code more organized, testable and maintainable. Step 1. Create the repository interface. First I'll create the repository interface. The repository interface acts as a bridge between the UI and data layers. Without the abstraction, writing tests or swiping data sources would be much harder. Let's implement repository interface. Now it's time to add paging command library uh, to our dependencies. But why I'm using paging command dependency? The paging command library does not depend on Android, unlike paging runtime. And this makes it safe and clean to use in domain layer, which should be free of any framework specific code. Now let's add this dependency. Now I have access to paging data. We need access to common entity module. Previously we implemented the RemoteMediator for pagination, the mapper for transforming data between layers. Now it's time to actually use them in our repository. Let's implement our repository implementation. Now I should add our repository in domain dependencies in our project. what I did in this function. The main function in our repository will be get articles, and this function will return page data using paging tree library. Here is what it includes: paging config with a max page size, and reference reference to room database for local storage and caching data, and a mapper to convert the data to our domain model. It's important to remember our UI layer should only talk to the domain layer, not the data module directly. That's why we use a mapper to return clean domain models that our UI can safely use. Finally, I'll go to the binder module and connect the repository in the implementation to the interface using Hilt. Once that's done, we can inject the interface into any constructor we need, and Hilt will automatically provide the correct implementation. Now you can see I used binds annotation for binding implementation to interface. And that's it for this part. We have set up our repository, connected it to Paging, RemoteMediator, Room, and mapped it for clean architecture.